welcome everybody to the J&T GSLC podcast number 4. We've got Tim Logan and my sidekick here. We've got a special guest again this week, or this month I should say, Barb Denfeld. Barb, why don't you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Well, I'm a member here at Good Shepherd. I serve as parish nurse here since 2012, and I've been a member since 2010.
What is that? So tell us a little bit about parish nursing, and maybe start with how you got interested in that a little bit.
Well, let me back up here a little bit.
Sure.
When Brian and I got married in 2010, I came to Wausau looking for a church home, and part of my quest for a church home was that it be an active community, not just inside the building, but out in the community. I very much believe that the gospel calls us to go out and meet people where they are. And the other thing that was very important to me, because I have family and friends who are members of the LGBTQ plus community, and I needed to know that I was coming to a church that was openly welcoming. And that was important. So I sat down and talked to Pastor John and asked him on those two questions, where did Good Shepherd stand? And he assured me that it was a welcoming community. And being Pastor John, he said, "So you're interested in social justice?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, I told him I had been very active in an organization in Milwaukee. And he said, "Well, as a matter of fact, there's a meeting this afternoon that I'm going to send you to."
Perfect.
Right off the bat, he sent me right to a meeting of what became Naomi. And as it turned out, it was very funny because the pastor from Milwaukee who was helping them establish themselves here was a pastor I knew very well in Milwaukee. And he said to me, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "What are you doing here?" And that's how it began. So those were two, that's part of what brought me to Good Shepherd, because I feel like that's what we're called to do, is to be out serving people who are not always welcome in the church. And I think Jesus didn't say, "Go build me," to his disciples, "Go build me a big building." He said, "Go out and be with people."
So do you visit at nursing homes or
I visit
hospitals?
Part of my role as parish nurse, and that was another thing that Pastor John lured me into, because he said, "We'd like to start a parish nurse program here." And at the time, there were 3 of us who were interested. And I am the only one remaining active as parish nurse. Linda moved away and Mary has retired. And but basically, I do most of the hospital visits. I call the hospitals every weekday and check under our code numbers and check to see who we have there. And I visit if they're able to have visitors.
Okay.
I also visit some people who are in the nursing homes, both long-term and rehab facilities and things like that, which is part of what I see as our outreach mission, to be out there. And I enjoy it because, first of all, it keeps my nursing skills up and active to be engaged with people who are ill, and also allows me to have one-on-one contact, one-on-one conversation, and so it works very well for me to do those kinds of visits. And I do visit some people in their homes who are more shut in and don't get to attend worship.
How many do you think you do every week?
It varies.
Yeah.
It varies. It really does. Sometimes we have people in the hospital every single day, and then we won't have anybody in the hospital for 2 months. So I mean, and then people are in and out of rehab, physical therapy, that kind of stuff. So I can't. There's no consistency whatsoever.
Do you bring communion or?
Usually, yeah. Usually I bring communion, but that too depends upon the person's circumstances, because sometimes when I go to the hospital, they can't have anything by mouth, or they're having tests, and so whether I can give people communion is totally dependent upon their medical situation.
If somebody has a friend or family or themselves, do they call the church, or do you usually find them? Or
We have the 2 hospitals have code numbers that are associated with Good Shepherd. So when I call the hospital and say who I am and that I'm wanting to know if anyone is in under our code number, then they tell me. If the trick is that if a person comes in through the emergency room, that's usually not where they're focused on asking the person, what church are you affiliated with?
Sure.
And so sometimes people slip through the crack, which is why we ask family members to please let the church office know if they have a family member or they themselves are in the hospital, because we don't want to overlook anybody, but we can't visit if we don't know they're there. And while I get that the focus in the emergency room is not what church do you belong to necessarily, I hate to hear from somebody, well, I was in the hospital for 3 days, but nobody came to see me.
So our intent is to visit people if we know they're there.
Right.
Once in a while, for whatever system reason, we don't get notified.
Right.
So, but if we are, we'll be there.
Yeah. So if people tell me, if their spouse or their parents or whoever is aware that the person is in the hospital and they call the church office, even if they just call after hours and leave a message, then I get the message that so-and-so's in the hospital. And the other part of that is if they are in a nursing home, we don't have any contact with the nursing homes via a code system like that. So if somebody in your family is going to a nursing home, either permanently or for rehab, the only way we know about that is if we get a call at the office to say,
And if we do, we'll visit.
we'll visit. Okay. So that's pretty much the way it works.
Cool. And you maybe covered this a little bit, but I mean, what do you like about that? What keeps you going? Because I don't think we pay you a lot.
Oh, it's that high priority for me. It's about what I believe is my faith journey.
Getting out in the community and helping others. Being
out in the community and serving the needs of other people. And it's not it gives me an opportunity to interact with people where they're at. And that is what I think is a big part of what church is about. Interacting with people where they're at rather than where I am.
Well, it sounds like you enjoy it. I mean, it sounds like you might need somebody to assist again. Somebody to help you out would be beneficial.
That would be wonderful. If anybody,
so
if anybody who is a nurse wants to join me in this endeavor, I'd be most happy to have.
Do they have to be a nurse?
They have to be a nurse.
Okay.
They have to have a Wisconsin licensure.
Very good.
To do visits?
Oh, not to do visits, to be a parish nurse.
Okay.
Okay, to be a parish nurse.
Somebody could just do visits or.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Help you out
People
with
can do home visits and take communion to homebound people. Absolutely. I thought you were asking about it being a parish nurse.
To talk about because I had no idea exactly what
But to do home visits, and any member of the congregation who would like to visit.
You have to be a nurse to visit in the hospital?
To be a parish nurse, you have to visit.
Okay.
You have to be a parish nurse. You have to have a Wisconsin licensure, and you have to be certified as a parish nurse. So you have there's a curriculum you have to go through.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Yeah.
And so it's
cool. Well,
it's a specialty in nursing.
Right.
So
Sure.
Well, great. Yeah.
Well, if anybody's out there watching and wants to know more information,
give me a call.
definitely contact Barb.
I know we're very appreciative of what you do.
Absolutely.
People, in their time of need, that you're willing to be there and go check out on them. really, like you say, take the ministry outside the walls. I know people really appreciate that. I
Well.
know. Mom liked your visits. Thank you very much. I was walking in and you were walking out. That was very nice.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
That was all the way down in Stevens Point too, so that was great. That was very nice.
And that too. I mean, when people the hospitals we contact are Wausau, the 2 hospitals in Wausau. So if somebody is somewhere else like Marshfield or wherever, we only know about that if we're told.
Sure.
So I found where your mom was hiding.
Yeah, we tried to give them, but thank you.
But no, I'd be happy to talk to anybody who wants to do home visits to some of our homebound people and or who wants to become a parish nurse.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks for
Thank you,
coming in.
Barb.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Hello, we're back. Tim and Josh again.
Yes.
Josh, Tim, we're trying to keep it straight. So far, so good. Well, we assume everybody knows, but if you haven't heard yet, Pastor Kemp announced that he's going to Our Savior in Appleton with his last Sunday here being Labor Day weekend. So we thought we would talk a little bit about those last couple of Sundays and then maybe what might happen as we go forward.
So we've got a celebration Sunday planned for August 28th, and that is an opportunity for people to, I guess, have some fellowship with Pastor Kemp and fellow members. We'll have a good supply of appetizers, a pretty big cake, coffee, juice, things of that nature in the fellowship hall. So people are encouraged to come and talk to Pastor Kemp and thank him for his time here and wish him good luck in the future. Then the next Sunday, which is September 4th, will be the farewell Sunday, I guess. There's some certain things that'll go on and happen in the service.
There's a special service or part of the service for
It's part of the service.
ministry
We're
closure.
doing sending a Thanksgiving at a conclusion of a call. That's the
Sure.
Official term.
Yeah, so that'll be on the 4th, and then Pastor Kemp will be moving on,
And just so people know, as he said in his letter, when ministers leave, they usually have very little contact with their previous congregation to make room for the new person and so they can get on their way on the new job.
Exactly. So it's kind of a twofold thing where they can move on to their new call and their new parish, and then same thing for Good Shepherd.
Same thing.
So yeah, after Pastor Kemp leaves, obviously we'll be in a transition period. It's kind of people can be scared, excited. I mean, there's a lot of different emotions I'm guessing people are having or have had, but I think everybody just calm down. Angie, Kartika are really great. They know what they're doing. They're professionals. So I think we're in good hands with those two. And we've had a meeting last night actually talking about supply pastors. So that's basically what will happen after Pastor Kemp is gone. There's really no interim pastors available from the Synod, so we're going to have to rely on supply pastors. There are a number in the area that myself and council will reach out to try to get a schedule.
So what's the difference between an interim and a supply?
I think an interim is more long-term, and somebody from the Synod. A supply is quite often retired.
And they just fill in for a Sunday?
Yeah, they'll fill in for a Sunday or, one Sunday every couple months or maybe once a month for a little while. Sometimes retired people go south for the winter, so you work around their schedules. And another thing to mention is communion. So with this transition and trying to fill in supply pastors, it's possible that we may not have communion every Sunday. So that's something to...
Are we going to put that on the website?
Yeah, we'll have more information about that.
If there is or isn't communion, or...
Once we figure it out, because I think right now we need to figure out how often we want to receive communion. And maybe what the span is, say if it's the first and third Sunday of the month, then we'll probably put that on the website, make it known.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it more of a routine thing so people can get used to that, I guess. You know, if it's the first and third Sunday, it seems like that might make good sense right now. Council, obviously, we've got to talk about that as well. And then, you know, when we don't have supply pastors, then it's possible that we have worship teams here. And I know you're the third string here at Good Shepherd, or maybe it's fourth string now, I'm not sure. But so, well, I'm not volunteering you, but I mean, there's worship teams that we may try to put together and call upon to help out on a Sunday service, I guess. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I guess so.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah, I guess so, sort of. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we're all gonna have to pitch in until we see.
Well, it's, you know, we've come to a active participation is what we're going to try to drive towards. We've got a stewardship drive coming up, and that's going to be one of our drives is active participation. So I think this is a good time to have people participate because it's kind of now or never in a sense, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. So, and moving forward too, I mean, council will be talking about, you know, where do we go, you know, without a lead pastor?
Right. Full-time, part-time.
Full-time or part-time or a shared pastor. We're not quite sure what that looks like, but I mean, we know it's going to take some time. Even if you call a lead pastor, it could take a year.
Right.
I mean, at least.
Well, I
So-
think we had a year from Pastor John to
Okay.
Pastor Kim,
So yeah, I mean, that's not
I think.
out of the norm right now,
Right, yeah.
especially with the amount of pastors. So
Right.
I've been talking with Pastor Asher at the Synod level, so we have a meeting set up for August 31st here at church to go over things. There's a lot of guidance that you get from the Synod, so that's been very helpful. They have some different ideas as well. So I think we're in good shape. I feel
Yeah, it's just.
I mean
I mean, luckily I'm only fourth string, so
like I said, it can be an exciting time.
yeah, I'm only fourth string. So
Well, right. No, nobody's going to expect that much if you're fourth string.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Keep expectations.
I did you a favor.
Right.
So,
All right, so we'll supply. So in different pastors, they may see different faces. Won't be the one face, the same face necessarily all the time.
Correct.
The staff is aware. The staff will be infrastructure people. It should be on the website or in the Facebook page if we're having communion or not. If they have questions, they can always call
right,
the
yeah,
office.
there'll be information out there.
And obviously, we just found out about this a week ago.
Not even. Was it
About
about a week ago?
2 weeks, I think. 2 Sundays ago, right?
We just found out about this 1 or
Yeah,
2 weeks
well,
ago.
a week and a half.
So things are, we're still obviously planning and understanding and processing, I think, at this point in
absolutely.
time. So things are going to be a little bit fluid, but we feel confident that we're going to be okay here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.